Students, welcome to second term. Hope you all are doing good. The first chapter we are going to read in term 2 is Night Witches. Lesson 7, Night Witches. Now, you must be thinking, oh ma'am, is it about the witches? And you all know what are witches, bad spirits, right? But you don't get afraid because this chapter has nothing to do with bad spirits. Rather, you will be surprised to find out who these witches are. Okay, let me give you a guess. Those of you who keep yourself updated with the current topics and those are connected with the social media and the news might come across recently. I mean, a year back, India imported some Rafale planes. We call them as fighter jets or fighter planes. And you might have heard that a name flashed in the news. The first female Indian pilot to fly the fighter jet. It is Shivangi Singh. Alright. Now you can see children, women taking up the different roles, opting for different careers, which were basically men oriented. So here, Shivangi Singh has proved that women are not less and can achieve anything. So my dear students, you can also opt for this career when you grow up. Those who have interest in adventure will enjoy this job, believe me. So let us start the lesson. The name of the lesson is Night Witches, page number 68. It was the spring of 1943. At the height of World War II, two pilots, members of the Soviet Air Force, were flying their planes. Polikarpov PO-2, built mainly of plywood and canvas, over a Soviet railway junction. Their passage was on its way to being a routine patrol until the pilots found themselves face to face with a collection of German bombers, 42 of them. So here in the first paragraph, we are talking about World War II. It was the year 1943. Okay, and the war was at its peak. Height of World War means at its peak. Okay, two pilots, members of Soviet Air Force. How many pilots were there? There were two pilots. They were the members of Soviet Air Force. Here, Soviet Air Force means Russian Air Force. Okay, they were flying the planes, and they were made up of, we are talking about the planes. The planes were made up of plywood and canvas. Okay, just imagine, children. Yeah, planes made up of plywood and canvas. Okay, they were very thin. They were very weak. The planes were thin and weak. Okay, their passage was on its way to bring a routine patrol. Here, routine patrol means the act of going round an area so that there is no trouble. Okay, yeah, you might have heard the word patrolling. The police, yeah, patrol the area to see that there is no trouble. The same way here, these two pilots were doing their routine patrolling. Okay, until the pilots found themselves face to face with a collection of German bombers. So they were actually German bombers were there, okay, almost 42 of them. And these two pilots were in search of these bombers. Okay, let's read the second paragraph. The pilots did what anyone piloting a plane made of plywood would do when faced with enemy aircraft and enemy fire. They ducked. They sent their planes into dives, shooting back directly into the center of the German group. The tiny plane's flimsiness was in some ways an advantage. Their maximum speed was lower than the stall speed of Nazi planes, meaning that the pilots could maneuver their aircraft much more quickly and easily than their attackers. They outnumbered Soviet downed two Nazi planes before one of their own lost its wing to enemy fire. The pilot escaped, landing finally in a field. So here, the pilots did what anyone piloting a plane made of plywood would do when faced with enemy aircraft and enemy fire. They ducked. So here, the pilots, they have done their best. Okay, now the enemy aircraft was attacking them. So they ducked. What you mean by ducked here? They just lowered their planes. Okay, they lowered their planes and they came, down. Okay, they sent their planes into dives, shooting back directly into the center of the German group. Yes, after they ducked, what they did, they started, firing at them. Okay, they were shooting back at the German group. The tiny plane's flimsiness was in some ways an advantage. So here, their planes were very weak and very tiny. Okay, flimsiness here means very weak. Okay, very weak and thin. But this proved to be an advantage. Okay, their maximum speed was lower than the stall speed of the Nazi. So here their speed was lower and this proved to be an advantage. Okay, and the meaning that the pilots could maneuver their aircraft much more quickly and easily. So here these two pilots could, uh, turn and mold their planes very quickly and they were very fast. Okay, this helped them a lot. The outnumbered Soviet downed two Nazi planes before one of their own lost its wings to enemy fire. So in this way quickly they reacted and they attacked one of the one of the German planes. Right. Let's start. Third paragraph. The people on the ground who had witnessed the short fight rushed over to help the pilot. They offered alcohol, but the offer was refused, as the pilot would later recall. Nobody could understand why the brave lad who had taken on a Nazi squadron wouldn't drink vodka. So here the pilots escaped, landing finally in a field. The people on the ground few people, they saw what was happening. Okay, they were the witness, and they rushed over to help these pilots. They offered alcohol, but the offer was refused. Yeah, these two pilots refused to have alcohol. As the pilot would later recall means she was now talking about what exactly happened then. Nobody could understand why the brave lad who had taken on a Nazi squadron wouldn't drink vodka. So here the people were surprised. Why are these lads not having vodka? Vodka is a type of alcohol. Okay, lad here refers to the men. Okay, yeah. Now let us see fourth paragraph. The brave lad, it turned out, was not a lad at all. It was Tamara Pamyatik. Okay, see here. The pronunciation is given here to the left side. Pamyatnik. Okay, Tamara Pamyatnik, one of the members of the 588th Night Bomber Regiment of the Soviet Air Forces. The 588th was the most highly decorated female unit in that force, flying 30,000 missions over the course of 4 years and dropping in total 23,000 tons of bombs on invading German armies. Okay? Here, para fourth says that the brave lad, it turned out, was not a lad at all. Okay, later on, it was found that the brave lad was actually not a lad, but was lass, Lass. It was Tamara. Okay, yeah, it was Tamara Pametnik. You can see the pronunciation given to your left. Okay, it is a little tricky name. Okay, so here she was one of the members of 588th Night Regiment. Okay, she was the member of 588th Night Regiment of the Soviet forces. So, this 588 was the most highly decorated female unit in that force. Okay, most decorated means highly honored because they have done such brave deeds. You can see how many flights and missions they have taken up and how many bombs they have dropped over the German armies. They were ranged in age of 17 to 26. How young they were. Yes, they were very young. Okay, they were ranged in age group of 17 to 26. Okay, very adventure life they had, isn't it? Yes. Now come to page number 69, continuation of fourth para. Flew mainly at night, making do with planes that were per their plywood and canvas construction, generally reserved for training and crop dusting. They often operated in quiet secrecy, running their engines slowly as they neared their targets and then gliding their way to their bomb release points. As a result, their planes made little more than soft whooshing noises as they flew by. So, flew mainly at night, making do with planes that were per their plywood and canvas construction. Okay, so here the German bombers, they flew mainly at night, and the Soviet night bombers, they used to manage with the limited resources. Here making do, underline making do. Making do here refers to limited resources, and they used to manage with whatever is available. Okay, and so they were managing with those planes which were made up of plywood and canvas. They were not at all suitable for flying or compacting flights. Okay, but still they flew them, and these planes were reserved for training and crop dusting. They were actually not fighter planes. Okay, they were reserved for training and crop dusting. Crop dusting here means used to spray some pesticides or medicines on crops. For this purpose, these planes were used, and now the night bombers or night witches, they were using these planes for combating or fighting. They used to fly in a very secret manner. Okay, they used to fly in a very secret manner. They used to run their engines slowly so that nobody could hear them. And they used to glide their way to their bomb release points. These planes did not make much sound. Only a whooshing sound was heard. Okay, here whooshing sound means, whooshing sound is actually a synonym to the witches. Okay, witches, you might have seen in the movies. Yes, witches, they fly with their brooms making a whooshing sound. Let's read para 5. Those noises reminded the Germans apparently of the sound of a witch's broomstick. So, the Nazis began calling the female fighter pilots Nachtexen. Okay, here Nachtexen means night witches. They were hated and they were feared. Any German pilot who drowned a witch was automatically awarded an Iron Cross.